We're going to continue talking NFL mock drafts with Tim Bielik, the draft expert here on cleveland.com, as well as in the pages of the Plain Dealer. Let's take a look at a couple of other mock drafts out there. Charlie Casserly, a former Hall of Fame NFL GM for NFL.com, likes J.C. Horn. We touched on him a little bit in that first segment. Cornerback from South Carolina. Ryan Wilson has the Browns taking an edge rusher from Wake Forest, Carlos Basham. Josh Edwards has a different edge rusher, Joe Tryon from Washington. Let's bring Tim Bielik back in. Tim, Charlie Casserly, a guy that Hall of Fame GM in his time with the Redskins. What do you think about J.C. Horn? How much do you like him if he's there? Is that somebody you think the Browns are really going to go after?
Horn could potentially be a steal at 26 if he drops that far. He's not as good as Pat Surtain or Caleb Farley, but there's a lot to love about J.C. Horn. He's got good size. He's a very physical corner. You look at the numbers there. He's got some very good ball skills. Of course, 2 interceptions in 7 games, 6 passes defense in the SEC, going up against some pretty good passing games. And I wrote about this before when I talked about the corners. J.C. Horn, one of those guys in this draft that's got NFL bloodlines. He's the son of Joe Horn, former Saints receiver. Just one of many guys that have those bloodlines. But I think J.C. kind of stands in his own regard because of that physicality, something that you can really use to kind of play off of Denzel Ward. You can have 2 physical corners, one who's got more size than the other, and really have that balance. And like I said, he's one of the guys that I think would be one of my picks to go. I don't know if he would make it to 26, but if he does, it would be very tough for me to not want to turn in the card for J.C. Horn if I'm the Browns.
Well, and again, if you're Browns fans, you want as many of those quarterbacks and wide receivers taken early, because that means good defenders keep falling farther and farther in the draft. Let's switch the focus up to edge rushers. So Carlos Basham Jr., defensive end from Wake Forest, is who Ryan Wilson from CBS Sports mocks to the Browns. Good size, a little bit older, 23 is, and you see tackles for loss and sacks 2 years ago, outstanding last year in 6 games. Still not bad. What do you like about Basham? What do you see from Carlos Basham Jr.?
I think 26 may be a little high for Basham, because when I see him, obviously he's got very good size, so he's got the versatility to play outside and inside as a pass rusher. But I think the age kind of limits his upside a little bit. He's kind of one of those high floor, low upside guys, and maybe not the kind you take in the first round, but certainly a guy that can create some problems. Again, he's a big guy, 285 pounds. He's got the ability to really push people around. He's got all those tools you're looking for. If you're looking for a big defensive end, he's a guy you go for. But again, I think maybe more of a day 2 type of pick in my mind.
Another edge rusher projected this time by Josh Edwards, also CBSSports.com. He projects the Browns take Joe Tryon. That is another defensive end. You see, still, he's got that 6'5" prototype build, 265. He's only 21. Opted out of the 2020 season to get ready for the draft. Tackles for loss and sacks outstanding the year before. So the question becomes exactly why did he opt out? That's one of the things that would concern you about a 21-year-old with an NFL future. What do you like about Joe Tryon? What are your thoughts?
I look at Tryon and I look at a guy who could be the opposite of Basham, where I think he, instead of being a high floor, low upside guy, he's a guy that's got a much greater upside than Basham, but maybe a little riskier of a pick because he's another one of those guys that didn't play in 2020. But you look at the numbers, 8 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss in 2019, very good size at 262 pounds, can move, great athlete. It's going to be that question that comes up with a lot of these guys that opt out of the season. And then I know Peter King from NBC Sports wrote about this at the beginning of the week, how unpredictable this draft is going to be because so many of these guys opted out. We don't know how they progress, what things they worked on when they weren't on the football field for these last few months. Tryon's going to be one of these interesting case studies. I think maybe he gets pushed down a little lower because of that uncertainty because he didn't play this season. But if he makes it to the second round and the Browns don't go defensive end, he's a guy I would gamble on because you bet on guys with his athletic profile.